So what is going on, guys? It's Brandon here.
And it's Jamie here.
And today we're going to be telling you why Mario Kart DS is so important.
So, many people didn't like our slander of 7 and said, oh, we're too harsh. Well, what we're going to do is, we're going to give you the same criteria, in the same order, but we'll make it about DS instead, and you'll see where we're coming from.
Hey you! Yes, you. You like watching this channel, right? Of course you do, it's sublime. Well, we've got something to show you. A Discord server, yeah! If you like Mario Kart, this is the place to be. Quizzes, predictions, hating Baby Park, it's all here. The link is in the description. Come join the Standard Karting Discord. We'll see you soon.
So firstly, the DS. Now, unlike the 3DS, the DS was pivotal for Nintendo. This was probably the biggest handheld they released, like bigger than the Game Boy, I'd argue. This thing was so important when it came out. Everyone wanted one. You look down the back of the sofa, there's like 5 DSs there. Trust me, there is.
Oh yeah, definitely. I can vouch for him there.
These things are so customizable as well. You had the normal DS, the big chunky silver ones, I love them. You have DS Lites, DSIs, all in different colours. You can there's so many different games on them. There's more games on DS than I think there is on anything else, like ever.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I had a DSi XL, still do actually.
So do I.
Mine was in black.
Right.
It's a nice one.
Mine's in dark blue.
Nice.
So good, I love it.
It is such a cool console.
It is, but aside from that, the DS was really pivotal for Nintendo because it's their first modern handheld. Like the Game Boy was still outdated, but along came the DS, 2 screens, styluses, inbuilt internet. These things were very important.
It was so good. Honestly, it was such like a monumental achievement for Nintendo that no surprise that it did so well as a system.
I mean, of course it did. The things were comfortable to hold, they were fun to play on. I like them. They have backlighting and everything. They're nice. I grew up with one. I grew up with multiple of them.
I originally had the original DS. Mine broke though. I dropped it on a really hard kitchen floor.
Oh.
Yeah. Smashed the back screen out.
Yeah.
But no matter. I have the DS. I have the DSi now, so we're all good. But yes, so one thing that's interesting about the DS is it followed up a pretty big flop, the GameCube.
It did.
The GameCube. Now it had some great games on there. Don't get me wrong. Okay, I slander it a bit, but Double Dash was still It was okay.
Yeah. But...
and things like Melee were on the GameCube as well. That was great, but honestly, the GameCube as a whole, kind of a mid console.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of Nintendo fans ended up just skipping on the GameCube. The GameCube sold poorly even compared to its predecessors. And Mario Kart Double Dash was a very controversial game. The drifting was all over the place. It was hard. So much selections to do. It was a very controversial game. Although we loved it, and a lot of Mario Kart fans do look back on it fondly, it's still a very controversial game in the community.
I will say it's definitely ambitious. It definitely tried to do something unique, and it succeeded.
It did.
It succeeded at that, and I'll give it that. But for it to stand on its own, I don't think it's as strong as the others.
Yeah. Now, in order to understand DS, we first have to go to what it includes, and that includes the modes. Now, this is a goated Mario Kart for modes. No one's arguing that. Firstly, a good versus mode. Take note 7. Play the tracks individually. A good battle mode. The battle mode in this is so good. It is so good.
Shine runners. Oh.
Shine runners, but a balloon battle mode where if you lose all your balloons, you get eliminated. That makes so much sense.
It's perfect. What's the point of respawning? You out. You're sucked. You get out of here.
The tracks in battle mode as well. The stages. Yeah, Block Fort's back. Oh my god, what a good lineup of battle stages. It's good. It introduced...
And on top of that, mission mode.
Mission mode. Just everybody knows about this. Anyone who ever talks about DS will go on about it, so we're not gonna. But mission mode is good, guys. Why is this not back?
like this needs to be in the next Mario Kart game.
It
If
does.
we don't get a mission mode, I will be incredibly disappointed.
It's modes like this where I just look at 7 and go, hold on a minute, you have no excuse for the content that you're lacking in.
Yeah, like you can't call yourself a good Mario Kart game stood toe to toe with things like Wii and 8 Deluxe and DS. Not a chance.
Yeah, and one more pivotal thing. Now, this is the game that introduced online. Wow. Okay, listen, you could only play with 4 players, but the fact that a 2005 handheld introduced online and it was solid at that, incredible.
Yeah, I had little issues with it really. It was such a stable connection.
And let's also talk about local multiplayer, which was also
Fun as hell.
introduced on DS, where you can just, whip out your DS and suddenly you're playing as a Shy Guy. You can race against your friends, you can battle against your friends. Wow,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
the download play was like a decent feature as well, because if someone doesn't have a copy of DS, then boom, download play, now you can play.
Yeah, that is so
Like-
good.
Like, yeah, 7 has that,
And DS
but
is...
where did it come from? DS.
And unlike the 3DS, the DS was affordable as hell. People could just bring their little sister's pink DSi and play Mario Kart with their boys. Everybody liked that as well. This was such a pivotal game for introducing that. It's still the most playable Mario Kart with friends, I think. Maybe
Yeah,
close,
I'd have to agree with you there.
maybe close to Wii, but it's so good. There's barely any expense in just being able to play with your friends. And it's not GBA link cables or
Christ.
buying a whole other Wii remote. These things are just good. It's good fun. Now, the roster. Yes!
What a roster. I mean, this is a solid-ass roster. Waluigi, Daisy, Drybones, the main cast, Rob. I know it's not, but Rob.
Now, people will look at 7 and go, well, actually, I like how obscure some of the pics are. And I'd like to respond to that by saying, Shy Guy, Rob, and Drybones.
Yeah.
No one... They were so unexpected at the time. Like, people look back at it and go, oh, Drybones was in DS. Well, Drybones had never appeared before. In fact, it was so obscure for him to even appear. It seems normal to us now, but even Drybones appearing was obscure. But
Yeah, of
how did they
course.
balance that? By reintroducing the main cast. People like Daisy and Waluigi became mainstays. Like, they're not ignored in favour of Metal Mario. Clone characters. There's no clone characters here. Drybones
Yeah,
is here. Shy Guy's
there is-
here if you're playing with your friends. And Rob, I like that.
He's so goofy.
It's so
Like, he deserves to come back.
like people going, oh well, you hate Link, but you like Rob. What's the difference? Well, Rob is just why. I love it because why? Like, I could kind of see Link coming, but
Yeah,
just
like-
Rob, why? I love it.
Yeah, Rob is literally goofy gaming peripheral. Link is some, like, elf kid from a different game.
Yeah.
Like, come on now.
And now number 5, and probably my favourite reason why I love DS, the carts. There's so much
Oh.
character here.
So good. I mean, like, so good, in fact, that what did 7 have to do? Take some of them.
It did. Like, if you just look at the carts you can select, there's so much character. Everyone remembers the B Dasher, the Egg One, the Dry Bomber, Rob BLS, the Banisher.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh my god.
Dry Bomber. Yeah, everything. They were all so cool.
The Hurricane Tyrant.
Oh, yeah.
God, the Poltergeist, where Luigi's just racing in a vacuum cleaner.
The Cucumber.
Shooting Star.
True, yeah. The
Light-
Power Flower.
Light Tripper.
Yeah.
Even the
Light Dancer as well.
the Rob Legs. You know,
the
Wario,
Rob Legs.
Wario pulls out his taxi.
Oh, yeah, you know,
The Brute.
everybody gangster until Waluigi pulls out his bike.
And his deer.
Oh, the Mantis.
The
The
Mantis.
Mantis. Legend.
I tell you what. The cars in this game are unrivaled for just character. It beats out.
Yeah,
It even beats out Wii in that aspect.
Yeah, they exude so much personality
They
that
do.
they just feel like so unique and interesting to play in and sit in and just be like, wow, I seriously am driving a Hoover or a digger or a bike in a game about cars. Like, technically, if we're like going chronologically, DS was the first thing to do bikes, really, even if it was a 3-wheeler.
Yeah, I love this. It's not like in Mario Kart 7 where you pick up your Egg 1 and you put mushrooms on it.
Oh god, no.
It's not like Wii where you're locked to 12 choices per character, which is still good, but in DS, you can when you complete it, you eventually allow any character to play in any vehicle.
And I love that.
I love
It's kind of like what 8 does at the minute, but obviously without the sticking on the wheels of the glider.
I just absolutely adore it.
It's just so good.
Everything has character. And
Right, now moving on to my favourite section of DS, the Nitro tracks. Oh my god, they are all bangers almost.
they're almost all bangers. Damn you, Chitchy Beach.
Yeah, no. I don't rate Cheap Cheap or DK Pass. But the rest all slap.
Slander it if you will. Figure 8 Circuit is a very good track to try and start to learn how to snake on.
Of course, it's probably the easiest snaking track that exists in that game.
It is Yoshi Falls, Brandon.
Oh yeah, Yoshi Falls.
He loves
Yoshi Falls.
He loves Yoshi Falls. Now, Cheap Cheap, admittedly, is a bit of a miss, but then it the end of the Mushroom Cup with Luigi's Mansion. Yes!
Yeah, that is a cool one. Like, yeah, okay, I'll put it in D tier, but it's still a good track. Just because I put it in D doesn't mean I hate it.
It might be a D tier, but it's better than most of the things in 7, and it came back in that game.
Correct.
And then, okay, Desert Hill, sure, whatever, but then you have tracks like...
Now, you gotta respect the Super Mario Bros. 3 representation there.
Okay,
We'll get onto another Super Mario Bros. 3 representation in a minute as well.
Okay. I'll respect it. I'll respect it. Don't kill me. I'll respect it. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then Delfino.
Delfino.
A bit of
Brilliant.
Sunshine Rap.
Everybody loves pinball.
Yeah.
Overrated a bit. Overrated a bit, but for good reason. It's still an amazing track. It gets overhated these days, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. I mean, I'd say it's unique in the fact that, you know, when you go through the pinball gutter,
Yeah.
and it does the sound of a pinball getting lost.
Yeah.
Love that.
Every edit.
Something that never returns.
The sound effects in Waluigi Pinball are just custom. It's like they put some love into that track.
Yeah, they seriously made love to that track.
They did. And Shroom Ridge as well. What a banger.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people sleep on Shroom Ridge, I think.
They do.
Honestly, I think that they slept on it until the BCP came out and showed everybody Shroom Ridge.
Mm-hmm. And then arguably the best cup in all of Mario Kart.
Oh, yeah.
DK Pass, TikTok Clock, a good Mario Circuit, a goddamn Action Fortress.
Oh, yeah.
All of these slap. All of them are good. Yeah. People might hate on DK Pass, might hate on DS Mario Circuit. They're all good.
Pass is mid, TikTok Clock is a bop. DS Mario Circuit is the most challenging Mario Circuit that exists, in my opinion.
And if we want
an Airship Fortress,
if we want competition for the second best cup ever, have we seen the Special Cup?
Oh, the Special Cup.
Wario.
This is good.
It's such a good cup. Wario Stadium, Peach Gardens, Bowser Castle, Rainbow Road, a solid BC, a solid Rainbow Road. Peach Gardens, as people might know, is one of my favourite tracks of all time.
Yep. And the better version of Wario Stadium.
Wario Stadium, yeah. Oh my god, just all of these nitros hit differently. Even the ones I don't like Cheap Cheap Beach, they still hit.
Oh yeah. Like just because I hate Cheap Cheap and DK Pass doesn't mean that they're at the bottom of my entire Mario Kart list. They're in the middle.
And it's what 7 missed out on. Yeah, 7 introduced gliding in water, but they still missed the mark with their tracks. They didn't incorporate it well.
Yeah, I have to agree.
Now, people are going to jump on it and go, well, wait a minute, when you talk about the retros, they butchered the retros. Hold on, they introduced the retros.
Yeah. I mean, half the retros in this game might be circuit clones that are garbage.
But it's a DS.
But it's a DS for a start. And also, this was the game to give us the retros. So you got to give it some respect there.
Unless you talk about Super Circuit, which introduced retros technically through Super Mario Kart.
Yeah, but everything came back there.
Yeah, and to be fair, they're flat. It's easier to make them than it is to make full-on 3D models.
It's just Mode 7 again.
It is. But a DS introduced real retros, bringing them back from previous games and just making them better. Now, they did mess up with a few of them, okay? Mushroom Bridge, we all know, they removed the shortcut, blah blah blah. Still a good track. Or the amount of circuit tracks, sure.
at least some of the circuit track picks were good. Like we have GCN Luigi Circuit, GBA Luigi Circuit, Yoshi Circuit. Those are good track picks.
Those are good track picks.
Logically, thinking about it as like the track rather than the remake, those tracks are great. It's just the remakes are a bit underwhelming.
People will go, oh, well, why didn't they bring back Waluigi Stadium or stuff like that? Well, I don't think the DS could handle it. That thing was it still wasn't a powerful console. It did what it could.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you mean to tell me that you think the DS could handle Waluigi Stadium going up them half pipes with them piranhas? Yeah, not a chance.
Yeah, no.
If they'd have added that, they'd have ruined Waluigi Stadium on there. So it was a good move that they didn't.
Yeah, but the tracks that they did bring back were also good. GBA BC2, despite the sound fonting, is still very solid to play. Frappe Snowland, as much as we might hate on it, is still a good remake. Sky Garden, Banshee Boardwalk.
Sky Garden and Banshee slapped hard. They were both great.
GBA Luigi Circuit, GCN Luigi Circuit, they're all good. Sure, they could have done more, I guess, but it introduced retros, so I'm not going to slander it.
Yeah, absolutely not.
And items, Bullet Billiam is here.
Oh, good old Bullet William.
Bullet William.
Literally. Now, obviously, the Bullet Bill replaced the Chain Chomp. And, like, fair enough that, like, a lot of people thought, oh, well, poor Chain Chomp, that's not fair. But, like, at the same time, if you took that away from Double Dash, then it probably wouldn't feel unique to Double Dash.
Yeah, Double Dash was chaotic in its own way.
Yeah. So I think the DS needed to probably, like, sort of remake that almost.
Yep, and Naboo is back.
Yeah.
I love Naboo.
With an off-road bonus, I think?
Yep, an off-road bonus.
Yeah. Crazy.
But the items that came back, they're all pretty solid. It's not hearts flying around you, another red shell with the Yoshi egg. It's not the feather. It's just a solid light. Like, this is the most balanced in terms of items. You're not going to get murdered by blue shell every 2 seconds, but you're still on your toes.
Of course.
It's such a balanced game. And sure,
absolutely.
Sure, people will point at it and go, "Oh my god, the blooper though." Introducing this game, okay, that item sucks, but I can see what they're going for.
Yeah, it's the idea of messing up someone's lines. It's like, yeah, okay, so you can see through the blooper, and if you know the tracks, then it's not really a detriment. But with the blooper, it's there to mess up casual play. If you're in a competitive scene, you're not worried about the blooper.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, if you're in a casual scene, you're not worried about any item.
Exactly.
Because you know how to deal with it. Right, and let's get on to the gameplay, number 9. It's intense and vast.
Oh, yeah.
Snaking.
I mean, it's such a good mechanic. Like, I understand why it's broken and why it shouldn't return, but it made this game, like, feel fast-paced and fun.
I'm sorry, have you guys ever seen a time trial of DS? They don't stop.
Yeah, they are constantly moving. You see the little D-pad in the corner when you watch the time trial. It is constantly going left and right.
It's hilarious, I think.
Absolutely. It proves that this had probably a stronger scene as Wii.
It did.
Like, Wii and DS probably had a similarly strong time trial scene, I would say.
I think, yeah.
For different reasons.
I think we overtook it eventually, but DS...
Yeah, of course.
DS is still amazing for that. And just the gameplay itself, the AI, they're hard, but they're not bullshit.
Yeah, it's not like N64 rubber banding bullshit, but it's also not like, oh, I'm going to sit really far behind you, 7.
It's hard to explain the gameplay. All I can say is play it for yourself. If you haven't played this game, you're not a Mario Kart fan.
Exactly. This game is my favourite game of all time.
And for me, it's certainly up there.
Yeah.
I love this game intensely.
Of course. It's my childhood.
Honestly,
and for a game that came out in 2005, it looks great.
This is one of my first gaming experiences as a game. And if it weren't for Mario Kart DS, I'm not getting into the rest of the Mario Karts.
Definitely not.
And the gameplay is just, you have to play it for yourself.
Of course.
It's fast, it's a good blend of difficult, it's a good blend of easy. The difficulty curve is more than okay.
Oh yeah.
It's good. And
it's. I personally think this is something that 7 just didn't do.
7
couldn't
do this.
make it.
I think if someone started with 7, they wouldn't be able to go back and play the other games.
No, because then they'd be like, oh, like it just doesn't feel like 7. When in actuality, 7 doesn't feel like DS.
7 doesn't feel like Mario Kart. Okay, let's stop Sandra 7. We'll go on to number 10, the visuals. Sure, okay, the visuals have aged a little bit, but for me, there's a category of visuals where I call charming. I think the best
That's
way
it right there.
the best way to describe the visuals in this game are charming.
Yeah, that's perfect. I completely agree with you there.
I think they are okay. Sure, they don't look as good as 7, or they don't look as good as 8, but they look fun. How do you
Yeah, of course.
like
it's 2005. What was you expecting?
But it still looks good even for then.
Exactly.
This game really overachieved with what it could. And some tracks haven't aged well, but tracks like Pinball or DK Pass or Airship Fortress, they still look bloody amazing.
Yeah, they still really do hold true on this system. No. And I just hope to fuck that we get Airship Fortress in the BCP over Mushroom Bridge. Give us that, Nintendo. End the DS tracks on a banger.
Yeah, and
right.
This is category 11, which we couldn't talk about in 7. And it's what this game did for the series. This game did so much for the series. The new drifting style, for instance. Now, the drifting had been changed up from the originals to be less slippy and more, build it up and then release. It's a complete change of everything. The mechanics had changed, the balancing had changed. This for me was the start of properly modern Mario Kart. Now, sure, it's in the competitive era for me, but it's when Mario Kart evolved. It's an evolution.
Of course.
I love this game.
Same.
And I think potentially this is the biggest and most important game in all of the series. Just for bringing Mario Kart from the old audience, the old console audience, all the way to the DS, which was everywhere. So there's no one can debate that this game is very important.
And another thing as well that I think the DS did quite well is the DS did quite a good job at passing the torch from taking it from Double Dash, taking it as its mantle and passing it onto Wii. It did it perfectly.
Yeah, it's not like
no competition.
It's not like the DS outshined any of those games particularly. But what it did is it took the Double Dash formula, it created new mechanics, it created new ideas like retros, online, and then passed all that to Wii. And then Wii did what Double Dash couldn't.
Of course.
So this game was important for what it introduced, for its nitros, its retros even, for the items, for the gameplay. It's important.
It really is. I believe it's the most important Mario Kart in the series to date.
Me too. And I think that's going to be it for us.
Yeah, that's going to be it for everything in this video, guys. I want to thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy, then leave a like down below. Tell us your thoughts on DS. But yeah, that's it. We'll see you in the next one. Goodbye, guys.
See you guys.
You